In this video, we're going to discover 6 major causes of insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is the major reason why there is high blood sugar in persons with type 2 diabetes. And so to reverse type 2 diabetes, one must start from reversing insulin resistance. And that is why we want to know the causes of insulin resistance. So stay tuned, and in this video, you're going to discover 6 causes of insulin resistance. Welcome back to my channel. I'm dietitian Oluchukwu, and I'm here to educate and inspire you on how to control and prevent diabetes naturally, lose weight, and live healthy. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Please do well to hit the red subscribe button down below so that you'll get notified each time I make a new video. So without further ado, let's get straight into the 6 causes of insulin resistance. Now, in my previous video, I talked about what insulin resistance really means. In a nutshell, when we say that you're resistant to insulin, it means that your body doesn't respond properly to the effect of the insulin that your pancreas produces. Your body kind of antagonizes the insulin effect. Please do well to search out the link to that video. I've included the link to that video in the description box below. So, insulin resistance has a number of causes, but in this very video, we'll be talking about the number 1 most important cause of insulin resistance. And subsequently, in my next video, which is the part 2 of this video, we'll then look at the other causes of insulin resistance. Now, from the result of several researches carried out for several decades, a common trend was found among people with insulin resistance. They were all found to be carrying excess body fat and or abdominal fat. So the conclusion was that insulin resistance is primarily as a result of people carrying excess body fat and or abdominal fat. And I've come to confirm that from my own practice. Over 95% of people with type 2 diabetes that I've worked with are either overweight or obese, or are carrying excess abdominal fat. So I'm going to try to explain this in a very simple way without sounding too scientific. Now let's try to look at an imaginary figure and see how this woman begins to develop insulin resistance. This woman here provides her body with extra calories by consuming excess saturated fats and carbohydrates. Yes, when a person consumes excess carbohydrates, it also ends up being converted into a type of fat called triglycerides. Now, this woman continues to accumulate excess fat in her fat cells, and over time, her fat cells become saturated, filled up with fat that they can't just take in anymore. And then, what is her body going to do? It still has to store this fat somewhere, so it begins to look for where to store the fat, and it begins to store the excess fat in places where fat shouldn't really be stored. It begins to store them in her muscles, her liver, and even the pancreas. Now, the muscles, the liver, and the pancreas, they are not necessarily meant to store fat. There's a limit to the fat that they can carry. So because the body is looking for where to store this excess fat, it begins to store them in the muscles, the liver, and the pancreas. So at this point, the woman is now in a state called lipotoxicity. That is, her muscles, her liver, her pancreas are all clogged up with excess fat. And then inflammation sets in because this woman has exceeded her personal fat threshold. Let's try to understand this using an everyday scenario. Let's say you're hosting a wedding ceremony in your village, and you have a number of persons coming in from different parts of the country. Now, in your village, there are no hotels, and because your visitors are coming from a far distance, they will have to come in a day before the wedding. So you have to accommodate them in your house. Okay, fine. As they are coming, you are accommodating them, and at a point, your house is filled up. And you say, let me ask my neighbor to help me accommodate some of my visitors. You go to your neighbor, the muzzle, please help me. I have too many visitors. Your neighbor says, okay, fine, let them come in. Your neighbor takes it. At a point, your neighbor's house is full too. You go to another neighbor, the liver. Neighbor, please help me. I have some visitors. My house is already full. And the liver said, okay, let me take some. The liver takes them, accommodates them. At a point, the house is full too. You go to the pancreas, a neighbor with very little accommodation, and at the end of the day, everybody's house is full. And there are still people to be taken in. Let's get back to this woman in question. This woman who has exceeded her personal fat threshold. After she ate a meal containing carbohydrates, the glucose is digested and there's glucose in the bloodstream. So insulin moves in to do its job. Remember that the job of insulin is to stimulate the cells of the muscles, the liver, to take in glucose, thereby lowering the blood sugar levels. But now, insulin now knocks on the door of the muscle. Neighbor, please open up. I have some glucose here for you to take in. And the muscle, because it is already saturated with excess fat, it doesn't have any more room. It says, no, I can't open up. My house is already full. It doesn't respond. Insulin tries to open the door to the muscles and it doesn't respond. Insulin also tries to move the glucose into the liver, and the liver as well is filled with fat. So what has happened? Insulin resistance has set in. Meanwhile, the pancreas is seeing that there is excess glucose in the blood. It doesn't even know what is happening, and to be like, there's excess glucose, maybe I need to make more insulin. Maybe the insulin I made is not enough, so I have to make more. It makes more insulin, not knowing that insulin is not the problem, that the problem has to do with the muscles and the liver not taking up glucose. It makes more insulin, and what happens? There is excess insulin in the blood as well. And at this point, three things happen. There is excess insulin in the blood called hyperinsulinemia, there is chronic inflammation, and there is high fat circulating in the blood. Now this woman begins to experience all the symptoms of insulin resistance: increased thirst, frequent urination, increased hunger, blurred vision, frequent headaches, vaginal and skin infections, among others. So this is why, if you want to reverse insulin resistance and reverse type 2 diabetes, the first place to start from is losing excess body weight. Anyway, we'll talk about reversing insulin resistance in my subsequent videos, but in my next video we're going to talk about the remaining causes of insulin resistance. Don't fail to watch that video, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do well to hit the subscribe button. The reason is so you'll be notified the next time I post the video. If you don't subscribe, you may actually miss that video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.